So it was my birthday the other day, and for a long time, going back to when we had like no money, I don't want presents on my birthday. I don't care about presents on my birthday. So my husband takes me out to a meal and a movie, both of which are my choice. And it's like the only time all year when I feel completely unfettered by what other people might like or want. And I allow myself to be just completely selfish. So my choice of movie is almost always something that's not very commercial, that most people are not going to want to go see. And so the movie I was excited to see was the new Bonhoeffer film. Now, I did a little bit of research before I decided that I wanted to see this movie. I first watched the trailer, and the trailer told me that this was some crazy modernization of the Bonhoeffer life story in which he's turned into a action figure for the American audience. And I thought, okay, that's stupid, but good to know that going in, I guess. And then I wanted to find like maybe some uh, real critical historian fueled kind of analysis of what in the movie is accurate and what is not, and was surprised by what I discovered. It turns out, this is what I was finding out on Monday morning when I was deciding. Turns out that there's actually some controversy around this movie, and that some people are really up in arms about it being based on some book that has a similar title to the pastor, spy, assassin nonsense. Um, and then I found, there were a few like that, especially going into stuff about the family being all very disappointed in the movie and really criticizing it. And then I found an analysis by someone who had actually seen the movie. And this was a Jewish individual who mostly writes for a Jewish audience. And this was much more balanced, and said that, and this was somebody who knew Bonhoeffer's life and knew the history that it was based on, and did not actually seem to have a problem with it. Actually was debunking some of the criticisms. So, for instance, the idea that it has anything to do with that book, he said it's not. And so, I saw this bit of controversy and I thought, okay, cool. I want to go see it so I can see for myself what it's actually like. So, yeah, we had my nice carb-fueled dinner and then went to go see the movie. And of course, I mean, there are movie theaters packed to the gills with Wicked fans and Gladiator 2 and Moana 2 that are all out there. And this little theater had, I don't know, a couple handfuls of people in it. And as I went in, I definitely found myself very curious about what movie are these people expecting to see? What do they think it's going to be? I did not at all expect that any of them were there for the pseudo action hero kind of storyline that the title seems to be suggesting that it is. But I definitely wondered if some of them were themselves maybe, I'm just going to say Trumpist. And if they were Trumpist viewers, and knowing that I'm not a Trumpist viewer, I'm wondering what would they see in the movie that I don't see, or what would they be expecting or looking for in the movie that I'm not expecting or looking for. So there was definitely the part of me that wanted to ask them questions because I was just so fascinated, and also the part of me that was afraid of causing a ruckus, and so that part of me won. So I didn't talk to anybody about it. So okay, the movie opens, and the very first thing that hits me is a wave of disappointment that, oh, the acting is just not very good. But of course, I mean, I know it's a Christian production company. There's a ceiling to how high the acting is going to be. So I just kind of dialed down my expectations or even hopes for the acting. Um, and then just tried to pay attention to what are they saying about who Bonhoeffer was and what Bonhoeffer did and what he stood for. I found myself really struggling with the time that he was in New York City. Not his time at the Abyssinian Baptist Church, which I know he actually spent some time there. But what I did struggle with was his time in the jazz club and being a jazz musician. I mean, come on, that was beyond the science fiction of Glee, and I mean, that was real science fiction. The idea that he just walked up on stage and started playing Bach, and then what do you know? Seconds later, he's a jazz musician. And yeah, no, that was beyond the pale. That's what I had a problem with. Okay, we go beyond that, and he returns to Germany, and he sees the Nazi movement for what it is doing to the church, and hearing how his fellow pastors are responding to it, and he's getting upset. And the way he's talking about Nazism, the way he's talking about Hitler, it sounds to me anti-Trump. It sounds to me anti-nationalist. And I do believe that Bonhoeffer was definitely anti-nationalist, and he would be, I believe, very anti-Trump. And I believe he would be saying to the church, WTF, why are you lifting up this demagogue? I believe that's what he would be saying. I believe that's what he was saying then. And it's what I heard in the movie for a little while. And then it started getting into some other stuff, and it was the spy and assassin parts. And frankly, they had overpromised so much in the title and in the trailer that by the time they got to those parts of the movies, those parts of the movie, it was a serious letdown, because they were trying, actually, I believe, to portray his involvement in those kinds of activities accurately, and he wasn't really. So if you're looking for that in the movie, you're not going to find it because it's not there. And then the movie was over, and I found myself feeling like, well, it got really exciting there right for a little bit in the middle, and then it stopped being interesting. And it was really confusing when it came to, like, he was recruited to be part of, I can't remember. I don't think they used the name in this movie, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to say MFAR or ad hoc or something like that. If you're a Bonhoeffer scholar, maybe you know what the name of this organization was that his brother-in-law was a member of. They did recruit him. It was a section of the government that was kind of a spy organization. They did recruit him. And in the movie, they show him being sent on a mission that's supposed to prove his loyalty to the Nazi party. But what he actually does is take Jews to Austria. And that was just very confusing, because I was not understanding, how is this supposed to be proving to anybody his loyalty to the Nazi party? I couldn't follow that part of the story. So in the end, I was just kind of like, it just was not as interesting as I wanted it to be. But on the other hand, it gave me another lens on Bonhoeffer's life, which I appreciated. But then I got together with a friend who also has an interest in Bonhoeffer from a very different perspective. I mean, I was raised a Baptist, and the Baptists claim Bonhoeffer because of his connection to the Abyssinian Baptist Church. My friend, who is Catholic, was taught about Bonhoeffer by a teacher who is a Catholic teacher, who also claims Bonhoeffer as being just really sympathetic to the Catholics. I was like, oh boy, you can really just project anything onto this guy, can't you? But anyway, so she was really siding with the folks that I read online who are saying this is right-wing propaganda. It is very pro-Trump. They are using it, and especially she talked about this discussion guide that churches are using to really fuel the pro-Trumpness, and they're saying that the liberals are the Nazis now. And I don't. It is that I'd love to hear if you have encountered this side of it. I'd love to hear if that's what's actually happening. I'm very curious about how this movie is coming across to other people. I don't understand. I shouldn't say that. I understand a lot of why people can sit side by side and view the same thing and see completely different things. Yeah, I do understand how that happens. But on the other hand, there's the part of me that's just like, what? So anyway, if you have insight, I'd love to hear it. Have you seen it? Are you going to go see it? Are you interested? Are you boycotting? What's your sense? What's your flavor? Talk to me. Love to hear.